Yo, yo, this is not the smartest guys in the room. We are back, and I see my friend Tom. How are you today, Tom?
I am doing well, buddy. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Your frames look a little different today. You get new frames?
No, same glasses,
Okay.
same ones I've had for just a little over a year now. I do have to. I actually was recently reminded that I should get my eyes checked again. You know, as like an annual thing, right? I should go to the eye doctor and get my eyes checked again, see if my prescription has gotten any worse. Like, is this a slippery slope? Right? That I crested a hill and I'm now like sliding down into like poorer and poorer vision year over year? Or is it just that my eyes were getting tired of overcompensating and my vision is basically steady, right? The funny thing is like my vision is essentially not any worse than it was when I stopped wearing glasses 20 years ago, right? But my eyes were getting tired of compensating and I was starting to get like headaches towards the end of the day and stuff. And so that's what prompted me to go get my eyes checked last year and what ended up with, me wearing glasses again for the first time since college, I guess. Really, but or a little after college, I guess, was when I kind of stopped wearing glasses, but my eyes haven't gotten any worse since then. So my hope is, fingers crossed, my hope is that like my eyes have not gotten any worse, that my prescription has not gotten any stronger, and I don't need anything else. But I don't feel like I do. Like I don't feel like I'm straining to be able to see anything at a distance. So we'll see. But as yeah, it was a long answer to a question you didn't ask. So you're welcome, and good morning.
Yeah, good morning. And 10 minutes into the show. That's good to go. We've learned about Tom's eyesight, his glasses, and everything that an optometrist, an ophthalmologist, and all those other people associated with eyes would tell him. So thanks for that, Tom. Now let's get into this. We're talking shortcuts today. The fallacy, worth it? Are they worth it? Are they not? That's where I was. That's where you wanted to go today. We're going to go there, Tom. Go on. What do you have to say?
No, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to take you 10 minutes off the subject too and say that my daughter had a birthday party this weekend and we got all these chicken nuggets from uh, Chick-fil-A. And so there was a tray of like 120 nuggets on. How many nuggets do you think you could eat? Because I ate nuggets for like 3 straight days. So I just wonder how many nuggets could a guy like you eat?
I mean, I don't know that I've ever tried that with nuggets. I think I know my personal best for wings. Is that close enough?
Yeah, well, that would be even. Let's go. What's your personal best for
My
wings?
personal best for wings in one sitting is 48.
That's intense. Me and a buddy split 100 one time at a Buffalo Wild Wings, and I don't think he ate a lot more than me, so I don't think I was up to your level. But my buddy, he could have been playing in your game, but I was not there. So, well, nugget wise, I mean, I could bang out 20 nuggets easy, but I think I think you could probably eat 100 nuggets. Okay, so come on, let's do this. Shortcuts. Did I tell everybody this is not the smartest guys in the room yet? I We introduced ourselves, but I don't think we said that it was not the smartest guys in the room.
I thought you did, but maybe I'm just projecting that because it seems like you did. I don't know. Maybe you didn't. Why don't you just go ahead and do it again? It doesn't hurt to remind
Yeah.
folks.
Well, hello everybody watching, listening here, anywhere you're at today. This is not the smartest guys in the room, where we talk media, we talk publishing, we talk AI, we talk everything going on in the world today. And we're not the smartest guys in the room. So we asked our panel, we asked people weighing in anywhere to give us some tips, share their thoughts. So that's where we're at today. And today the topic is shortcuts. Tom says they're a big fallacy. I put in the title, Are They Worth It or a Big Mistake? So, Tom, before we get to Dr. Tachi, our friend Joe's here too, uh, weigh in on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to mince words here, Dom, right? Like, I think inherently the vast majority of shortcuts are bullshit, especially when it comes to business shortcuts. The ones that I run across all the time are sort of marketing shortcuts or often they get conflated. Marketing and sales get conflated by people. So they're sort of marketing slash sales shortcuts. And they're often tied to like business growth, revenue growth, et cetera, et cetera. So it's, you hear all these kinds of like, you get sold all these sort of, or marketed all these methods, right? They often come in the form of a method. Like, I've developed a method to triple your revenue in 6 months. I've developed a method to 10x this or X that or six, you sideways and upside down or whatever nonsense they're spouting. But basically, all of it is a result of something called survivorship bias, right? And survivorship bias is this really interesting cognitive bias where we tend to assign or believe something is successful based on sort of one anecdotal example, right? So, like, the classic example of this goes back to during World War II in the European theater. We were doing a lot of bombing raids from England over into Europe, into mainland Europe, right? There's movies about it, TV shows, et cetera. It's pretty commonly understood history. And one of the things they looked at was they were examining planes that came back to determine where and how they should sort of armor and equip planes to survive, right? And to make it back. And what they actually ended up doing was not increasing the likelihood that the planes would survive the anti-aircraft fire, et cetera, that they were encountering, because they were looking at planes that had survived it to try to determine how to equip planes to survive it, right? So they were fixing problems that didn't need to be fixed rather than trying to figure out, well, okay, the planes that went down, we should look at those or try to look at any of those that we can and try to understand what went wrong and how we can prevent those things from going wrong, how we can prevent those vulnerabilities to anti-aircraft fire and anti-aircraft weaponry, to help the planes come back safely, right? So they were kind of looking at the survivors to try to glean insight, and that's actually backwards, right? And what we often see in these sort of methods is it's often led by like a founder, right? So almost without fail, when you hear about these sort of shortcut methodologies that are marketed or sold to people, it is a founder or a sort of leader of a business who says, here's what I did, and it produced a 10x result for me, and now I'm going to teach you how to do it. And what it fails to take into account is the fact that for that one person that was able to create that revenue growth or that success for themselves, there are multitudes more who have failed doing virtually the same thing. And it doesn't look at all of the extra circumstances and variables that played into that one success. Instead, it examines that one success and says, okay, well, this is the norm, this is the standard. And so now we're going to apply that standard or apply it across multiple people as a standard and expect similar results. And what you end up with is sometimes you get some version of that result, of the result that the founder got, but often it's never replicated by anyone that participates in this shortcut, right? Or that takes the course or learns the method or gets certified or whatever however they're selling it, right? It often is never replicated, and they never achieve the same kind of results. And they all sort of all of these methods come with like a giant asterisk, right? Which is that giant asterisk is, it worked once for me, it might work for you, right? That's sort of the subtext of all of these offerings that people put out, or these methods or these shortcuts. And so my argument is that given all of this understanding, and given that we understand that these shortcut methodologies and the tools to market them are often the results of or taking advantage of this cognitive bias called survivorship bias, my argument is that shortcuts, generally speaking, are bullshit, and you shouldn't buy into them. They're not a substitute for consistency over time, right?
There we go, Tom. Tom does not like shortcuts, so we will get right into this subject, and I'm gonna be softer on it, because I like to take an opposite stance and try to be a good guy. And I, only question I have here to start this off: does shortcut in itself get a bad rap? Where let's say you could use Google as opposed to driving to the library and sourcing all your information somewhere else, where maybe Google can source the information faster. Is that a shortcut?
So, no, it's a different method for doing the same thing, right? And it might be a more efficient method, right? So you might say, well, look, I could go to the library and I could go to the card catalog and I could employ my rudimentary understanding of the Dewey Decimal System from middle school. And I could look up all of these books, right? All this source material, and I could photocopy the pages out of those books, and I could cite my sources and I could provide sources for the argument that I'm making. Or I could go online and I could look up those same source materials and I could find them much quicker without ever leaving my house. I could save them in an electronic document, which means I don't have to print them out, I don't have to highlight things, I don't have to whatever, right? So, like, is it a more efficient way of doing the same thing? Yes. And efficiencies are not shortcuts, right? They are a better way of doing the same thing. Shortcuts are a way of doing something differently that achieves a sort of a better or different result, right? So, like, it's not doing the same thing a different way. It's doing something fundamentally differently in order to achieve a better result, right? An outsized result, right? That is sort of like, to my way of thinking, that is inherent to the definition of a shortcut, is that it takes less effort and you get better results. Like, that's a shortcut, right? Definitionally. And often it doesn't work like that, right? Like, you don't get better results for less effort necessarily, right? Or outsized results for less effort. That's what I should say, right? So not better results, because like efficiencies are examples of ways you get better results for less effort, right? Outsized results for less or little to no effort, right? Little to no effort, you get incredible outsized results. If it sounds too good to be true, what's the old saying, right? If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, right? And most shortcuts sound too good to be true because guess what? They are. They're bullshit.
Fair take, shortcuts, worth it, or the big mistake. Dr. Tachi, good morning. We're coming to you, then Brian P. Swift. So, Dr. Tachi, shortcuts, are there any good ones? Go on. What's your stance?
Hey, excuse me, good morning. I think it depends, as has been said. I think the word shortcuts already is indicative when people hear it that this is something that is not good. Whenever you hear the term shortcut, even going back to think about stories, a character takes a shortcut and something bad happens. So it's been set up in our minds for shortcuts to inherently already be bad. Now, I think maybe there's another word for it, but I think when you are using a roadmap that has already been set up to help you, and then you add something to that roadmap to further, I think that can be a good thing, because I also think it's foolish to try and reinvent the wheel when the roadmap is already there. But that doesn't mean you can just follow the roadmap turn for turn, because you may not get off where you need to get off. So you have to assess that roadmap, ensure that it's going to take you where you need to go, and then add your own to the wealth of knowledge of that to make it work for you. You have to make it your own. I've been in enough mastermind things at this point because I love to learn. But one thing, I can always tell who learned from who, or who learned from whom, I should say, because the roadmap always looks the same. I'm like, you didn't want to change it a little bit? Add this. It always looks the same. And then the thing is, whoever's doing that is probably going to get the same result. So, as Tom was saying, simply because it worked in one case based off of one piece of anecdotal evidence doesn't mean it will blanketly work across all cases. You have to test it. But I think the bad thing about a shortcut is people see it as a way to cut down time, cut down effort, cut down energy, but they're not doing the work to ensure that it's a fit for them. And then they'll complain when it doesn't work. Well, you didn't take the time to make it a fit for you. It's like, okay, Another perfect example, a shortcut is going to a store, a shop, let's say Macy's. I'm not an affiliate. Let's say you go to Macy's and there is a shirt that you want to buy, right? Well, you're buying it off the rack. So it's inherently not going to fit everyone perfectly. Some people it may, but it's based off of a fit model, right? So it's not taking everybody into account. So it's a shortcut to go and buy the shirt rather than make it yourself, right? Or even go and get it tailored. But inherently it's not going to fit you the way one that you made yourself or somebody made tailored for you would. So what do? You may say, all right, these pants or this shirt doesn't fit. I have to go and get it tailored so that it works for me, so that it fits my body. And that's inherently what you have to do with shortcuts. They may end up being good because the roadmap is already out there for you, but you have to go and get it tailored. And that's what I would like to say.
I appreciate that, Dr. Tachi, and I agree. I think that's the place where a lot of people. I think it happens in two ways, right? Both on the consumer side and on the seller side. I think on the consumer side, people fail to kind of take that extra step of understanding that like they're buying something off the rack and they have to adapt it to their personal or specific use case to make it work, to maximal effect for themselves, right? And similarly to how you were talking about, like, you buy something off the rack and you go get it tailored so it fits you better, right? But then I think on the seller side, often the marketing and the sales around these sort of shortcut methods tends to be a bit misleading in that they try to sell it as a one size fits all solution, when the truth is there is no such thing, right? Like, even if you look in clothing, to just go one step further with the clothing example, like, I don't know if you've noticed this, but like, I see this in like hats, right? Most often, but it'll usually say like it used to say, I remember it used to saying one size fits all, and now it says one size fits most, because even the one size fits all, there are some outliers and there's some people that doesn't quite work for, right? Whose heads might be too small or too big for that particular hat. And so it has to say one size fits most, right? And that's the sort of proviso that I think most of these shortcuts should come with, right? Or these methods, as people teach them, is like, hey, this is not a panacea that works for everyone. It should be one size fits most at best, right? Like, that is sort of the best case scenario. At worst, it's really sort of like it's sort of like buying a suit, right? Like, as a guy, even if you buy a suit off the rack, you still have to have it tailored so it fits you, right? Like, if you go to Men's Warehouse and you buy a suit off the rack, like, they're going to tailor it to make sure the pants are the right length, the cuffs are the right length, et cetera, right? So, like, you still have to do those extra steps that are often not included in the sales pitch, right? Or even sometimes in the instruction. But yeah, otherwise, I agree. And I really like the metaphor of buying clothes off the rack, for sure. If you couldn't tell by the fact that I kept running with it. Dom, what do you think?
Interesting conversation. And I was thinking about it from the book end of things, book business. And I'm so into people having a unique experience with writing their book and your message, Tom's story. Tom's story, when you wrote Legendary, was different than everybody else's. You have you lived a different life. You have a different message to share. Sometimes people in the book business, when it comes to shortcuts, will say, well, Tom, I can record you talking and answer these 10 questions, answer these 50 questions. I'll record you talking. Well, if I asked Tom those 50 questions, I wouldn't have known when you worked for Coast Guard Alaska, right? Or I might not have known that Tom had this unique experience. So you're cramming Tom's message into this little box, and it's so much wider than that. So I don't love that shortcut. And another shortcut that I'm not a fan of is a lot of times a podcast will get recorded and turned into a book. And it could be great, but without the editing to that and turning in, you might have a great story, a great message that should be shared via book, but just recording it as a podcast and thinking it's a book, sometimes you'd be like, "Hey, Tom, the Super Bowl just happened, or it's about to happen. Hey, how you doing today? You look. I talked about your glasses this morning. Well, how does that apply to this greater message of the book?" And it's a miss. And sometimes I'll read those books like that, and right off the bat, I'm like, you get into chapter one and you got the ums and the buts and the you knows, and you're thinking, wait a minute, hopefully you didn't take those out. So I shortcuts in those cases I do not love. Should we hear from Swifty?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go around to Brian. I think, yeah, shortcuts. Yeah, podcasts are not books, right? Transcripts do not make a book. I couldn't agree more. And I'm not even in publishing, right? But like, yeah, I don't want to read a transcript. I don't want to read something that hasn't been heavily edited. So I don't know. What about you, Brian? What are some shortcuts that you think are either worth it or a big mistake?
Well, from the start of the topic, when you were talking about survivorship bias, and then we kind of morphed on to shortcuts, isn't this the entire theory behind marketing? Buy this bat for your kid and he's going to hit like Sammy Sosa. Drink this drink, this energy drink, and they show the mighty athlete. Drive this car and you're going to feel like a superstar. I mean, isn't it? I don't even, I wouldn't call those shortcuts. I'm not sure what to call them, but they definitely are playing on people's ego and people's feelings and people's emotions, which I think are even, I wouldn't even call those shortcuts, but that's the whole premise behind marketing out there. The same premise of the shortcut of I can, X, if you buy my book, you're going to 10X your visibility. They're trying to play to that part of you that not even, I don't even know if it's you want to get there quicker, you just want that 10X status. Um, and you want a way to get there. And yes, would it be nice to get there faster than other people got there? Yes. So I agree with what everybody said about shortcuts. Rarely do they work. The only shortcuts I remember that work were cutting through yards to get to somebody's house, or on your bike taking a shortcut might have been the only legit shortcuts that might have worked. Cutting through a park on your bike, instead of going around those type of shortcuts. But I don't believe that most shortcuts really have the value that they've been perceived to have. I'm complete.
Yeah, I'm with you, Brian. I mean, I think shortcuts through somebody's yard or something like to get home a little bit faster. When you're kids, those work great, right? Until they don't, right? Ultimately, somebody puts up a fence, or somebody whose yard you cut through gets mad and yells at you and tells you not to cut through their yard anymore, or calls your parents and tells them that you're cutting through their yard or something, and all of a sudden that shortcut doesn't work anymore. And I think that's the thing that these people who market or sell these shortcuts kind of fail to recognize, is just because you got home faster once because you cut through somebody's backyard doesn't mean that you can put a super highway through that person's backyard and take everybody down that path, right? It doesn't mean it's going to work for everyone just because it worked once. And that's the survivorship bias, right? Is just because something works once doesn't mean it's going to work on repeat. But that's exactly what they're selling, is they're saying, hey, this worked one time for me, and now I'm going to teach you how to do exactly what I did. And the odds are that it is not going to work for anybody exactly the same way it worked for them, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So they're basically selling you a false promise, in the same way that a company that advertises a baseball bat to have you hitting like Sammy Sosa is also selling a false promise, because unless you're juicing and a professional baseball player, you ain't hitting like Sammy Sosa. So anyway, that's what I think. What do you think, Dom? You want to weigh in on the sports thing, or get it back on track?
I don't know. I'm thinking about my probiotic I started taking, and I feel like $1 million now. So 10 million. So I don't know. Maybe I'm a sucker. But I liked what you were saying there, and I was thinking that the shortcut. may work once, it may work twice, but ultimately it doesn't have the strong foundation, it doesn't have the structure. So it will let you down eventually. Someday you'll walk through that park, Brian, that me and you walked through, that shortcut, and then the dog chases you. Or the guy comes out with his shotgun and says, "What are you doing on my property?" But yeah, I hear you, my friend. Okay. We're talking shortcuts before we get to Tom's Thumbs, our special segment. We're going to talk to Julie about shortcuts. Worth it? Big mistakes, or should we call them something else, Julie? What do you got for us?
Well, I'm going to just guess by the conversation as I jumped in late that everyone is saying, no, shortcuts, don't use shortcuts. It's not for me. You have to go put in the work, put in the work, put in the reps. I'm just guessing because I know you guys. So I'm just going to play.
Go on. Well, give us a
I'm
good
going to play the other side.
Give us a good shortcut.
I might not give you a good shortcut, but Tom goes straight to juicing and the Sammy Sosa bat, but a shortcut could be taking an energy drink in the morning. Is that to the level of a shortcut? It could be, I see it more as efficiency because I see some people that overthink, like take such a long time to do things when there are so many tools that can quicken the pace. Like I see AI is a shortcut in a lot of things. Now, we could go down the rabbit hole with that. I don't mean like replace everything and just rely solely on AI, but increase efficiency could be another term for a shortcut. So I'm just saying, yes, put your reps in, guys, but why not take advantage of some things to increase efficiency so you're not always taking that long road? All right, that's all I got to say. Thanks. Thanks, guys. Thanks, smartest guys.
And yeah, I mean, Julie, to fill you in, right? Because you weren't here right at the beginning. I kind of let in with most shortcuts are bullshit. And really what I mean by, and I talked about this a little bit earlier, but I'm not talking about more efficient ways to do things, right? What I'm talking about are a short number of steps or a shortened process that leads to outsized results, right? Like that's kind of definitionally like how we're describing a shortcut. And the idea is like, for example, like what was that? The 7-minute abs, right? Who remembers that? Dom, do you remember that? Julie, you remember that? There was like this workout.
The Thigh Master. How about the Thigh Master?
Yeah, or the Thigh Master, right? 7-minute abs, the Thigh Master, whatever, right?
Over-promising stuff.
Those are shortcuts.
Perfection. Yeah. Well, of course that stuff doesn't.
Yeah, that's a shortcut. And guess what? You can't get a six-pack if you do 7 minutes worth of an ab workout 3 times a week. It's bullshit. It doesn't work, right? Because
but it sells. That's the great part of it. We buy that stuff as a collective.
Right, because of survivorship bias, because we see somebody in the commercial with abs who says that they do this 7-minute workout 3 times a week and they've got a six-pack. But what we don't see is 2 things. One, all of the people who've done this or who try to do it and who never end up with any sort of visible abs. And what we also don't see is all of the other work that goes into that person being that fit with that low a body fat percentage that they have visible abdominal muscles, right? Like you don't see the whole picture. So you're getting sold a bunch of bullshit, right? 7-minute abs and it's going to transform your life. And it's not true. It's a shortcut and it doesn't work, right? Those are the kind of shortcuts that we're talking about, not a better way to do something. Like the example we talked about before with Don was saying, like, what about going to the library and researching something versus doing the research online? And I'm saying, no problem with doing the research online. If that's more efficient and it gets you the same result, great, right? Do it the more efficient way. I'm not for doing extra work just for the sake of doing extra work. But like,
got a good shortcut though. I can give you an example. What about a tummy tuck or a facelift? Come on, girls. You got me here? That's a shortcut. Right?
No love for a tummy tuck. Okay,
What?
all right, here we go. Before we get to Tom's
Just a
Thumbs,
thing.
I'm looking at synonyms. So synonyms for shortcut: bypass, detour, time saver, circumvent, avoid, alternate route, function, macro. Sometimes we get into we have had many talks where we bring up a subject here and then we go into the origins of a word, like we're breaking it down like the Latin, uh, so deep into it when we're talking like overall. Is this good? Is it bad? So, all right, good or bad, always good or bad, is Tom Stump, that portion of the show where we ask Tom something about pop culture, life, media, and he gives us a flat thumbs up, thumbs down. There's no in between on it. So, Tom, I've been too easy on you this year. So I thought today we'll ask you, in general, what do you think, thumbs up or thumbs down, on purchasing Greenland?
Okay. So I like how you're like, I've been too easy on you this year. Meanwhile, it's the third week of the year, right? So like, let's just be clear. This month may have felt like 6 months, right? Because a lot of stuff has happened in the first few weeks of this year. But just a reminder for folks, today is literally the beginning of the third week of the year, right? It is January 21st. We are literally, a week is 7 days. 3 times 7 is 21. It is the third week of the year, right? We're going into the fourth week, right? So like, just want to level set with that. Now, in terms of this idea of purchasing Greenland, there's a bunch of ways in which I think it doesn't make a ton of sense, right? I mean, first of all, I think the whole national security argument is specious. And the reason why I say that is because Greenland is they're an autonomous territory of Denmark, right? Denmark is a NATO ally, right? We already have a military presence in Denmark, right? And Vice President Vance visited our military base in Denmark or in Greenland last year, right? During this administration, since taking office as vice president, he has visited our U.S. military installation and base on Greenland, right? So like they know that we have a military base there. We have a military presence. Denmark has said to the United States government, if you're super concerned about your national security, feel free to send more troops to Greenland. We will help you. We will aid and we will send more troops to back up your troops in Greenland if you have legitimate national security concerns and if you have intelligence that either Russia or China is trying to maybe prepare for an invasion of Greenland or something crazy like that, right? But there is no evidence of any of that happening. It doesn't make any sense. It's a false flag of an argument because there is no need for us to take ownership of Greenland in order to actually increase our national security interests there, because Denmark has said and the government of Greenland have said, hey, no problem. You guys want to have more of a military presence here to protect your national interests? Go for it. How many troops do you want to send up? What new bases do you want to build? We'll help out. What do you need? This whole argument that we need it for national security interests is complete BS. It doesn't make any sense. There's no logical or sound reasoning behind it. I can't think of, other than sort of this idea that Greenland may or may not have natural resources that certain industries might find useful or might find value in, right? Maybe that's this administration wants to sort of seize ownership or buy Greenland. But at the end of the day, like all I kind of think of it is like, what happened to America first, right? What happened to let's fix things here at home and let's worry about home first before we worry about what's going on in the rest of the world. And here we are, kidnapping the president of Venezuela, talking about invading Greenland, talking about seizing territory all over the place. Like, what happened to America first? I thought we were going to make things less expensive. Instead, we're adding tariffs that, like, a recent study just showed from this administration, based on the government's own numbers, that the American people are paying 96% of the cost of the tariffs. So like we, the people, are paying 96% of the cost of the tariffs, not foreign governments, not the exporters, not the importers. We, the consumers, the public, are bearing the brunt of the cost. So all of this kind of signals to me that it doesn't make any sense for us to try to take Greenland by force or to even purchase it. It makes no sense. Greenland doesn't want to be part of the US, right? Denmark doesn't want Greenland to be part of the US. None of our NATO allies think this is a good idea. So I don't understand why we should do it. It makes no sense. And so for all of those reasons, and probably more that I didn't have time to get to, the idea of purchasing Greenland gets a gigantic double thumbs down from me.
Wow, Tom, heated. I better go back to asking you about Easter eggs and Christmas trees and inflatables. Anti-Greenland. Okay, thank you, Tom.
I still don't like inflatable yard ornaments for that.
What
Just
was
for the
it?
record.
Inflatable yard ornaments was one suggested by Jim Aj. If anybody listening ever has a Tom's thumbs that they would like to suggest, feel free to. You got to DM me because you can't DM Tom, or else he'll know what the topic is prior to the show. So that would be no good. So go on, Tom.
Yeah, what I was going to say, and just to be clear, like just so everyone knows, Dom does not tell me in advance. I have no idea what the Tom's Thumbs is going to be. The most information I ever get is, do you want something that you're actually going to get sort of annoyed about or like rant over, or do you want something fun, right? Or funny, right? Like that's sometimes Dom will ask that, but that's not even every week, right? Sometimes he asks, sometimes he doesn't, but I never know in advance what the Tom's Thumbs subject is going to be. So just for the record, so everyone knows, there is no sort of prepared statement. I never know in advance what it's going to be. It's always a surprise. And I think we should keep it that way. I like that element of it, that I have to kind of be nimble and think on my feet and try to come up with a cogent argument on the fly, right, for why I think something is good or bad. So I like that element of it, and hopefully it seems to have worked. I know, like, you know, Dom has gotten a lot of feedback. We've gotten feedback that people like the Tom's Thumbs segment, and some, I know Jim, you know, comes back week after week for Tom's Thumbs. I know he's a big fan of it, so loves to hear me get worked up and rant about things. So yeah. So anyway, I think we should keep it that way. But unfortunately, Joe Slaughter put a suggestion in the comments, and now I've seen it, so we can't do that one, Joe. Sorry, but that's the way it works. We want to keep it a surprise.
There we go. Okay, we're going back. This is not the smartest guys in the room. We're coming back around. And I'm going positive now. I want a tip from everybody in the room that can make things go faster, something in your business faster. You don't have to. This is not. We'll call it what could we use other than shortcut in this case for that kind of term.
I mean, like an efficiency or a way to improve, a better way of doing something, right? Like, you know, there's you know, you can use. I mean, I don't know. We come up with an example, right? Like you can use a knife to chop up vegetables, or you can use a food processor, right? Which one is faster or more efficient? So, you know, I mean, I don't know. Cooking just popped into my head as a way to do it. You could wash your clothes by hand in a bucket, or you could use a washing machine, right? Like, which one is more efficient?
Okay, let's do this. Then we'll go around the room, quick 30-second efficiency tip for people. I'm gonna start because this is my show and that's what I want to do. So an efficiency tip. A lot of times when I'm posting on social, I will talk into device and say what I want to say, and then I will edit it in a chat GPT first. So I've said it. I want to say this exactly how I would say in Dom speak, but man, I can see that the comments are off or something like that. So I'll say, edit this for a post on this page. It's done. It's edited. I feel comfortable sharing what I seems fast and efficient to me. So Tom, that's my first one. You want to go or you want to wait till the end?
No, I can go ahead. And I like that one. I mean, I think, look, at the end of the day, I have no problem with people using AI. I use AI all the time, right? Like I use it as an efficiency tool, right? As a way to do things more quickly and to get more stuff done. So I think that's a great use for it. My sort of efficiency tip, right, or better way of doing something is to put in the time in advance before you press record, right? When you're creating video content, put in the time in advance to plan out and have a really solid understanding of what you're going to accomplish, what you want to accomplish with that video, right? It doesn't take very long. It's just a couple of minutes, but it'll save you an incredible amount of time on the back end, because rather than, if you say, okay, I want to record a quick video and I want to be able to share it on some social medias pages, but I also want it to go on my website and be part of, a sales funnel or part of my sales process on my website for potential customers, right? So you want to have two goals with this video. So if you know that going into it, then everything you do to record that video, to create that content, is going to be focused towards those goals. And it's going to make it easier after the fact. You're not going, oh, well, I made this video for social media. Now, how do I retrofit it, right? How do I get this square peg through this round hole to make it part of my sales process for customers or clients, right? Instead, you've made something that does both, right? That can easily fit both scenarios, right? So that's my sort of efficiency tip, is take a couple of minutes in advance and just ask yourself, what do I want to do with this piece of content? Where is it going? What do I hope to accomplish with it? And then act accordingly all through the process. You'll save yourself a ton of time instead of either re-recording stuff or trying to retrofit things that don't really work. So that's my tip.
Good. Dr. Tachi, an efficiency tip for all of us. What do you have? You got something for us?
Yeah, two quick ones. For social media, to what you were speaking about, Dom, use a social media management app instead of posting to each separate social platform, depending on how many you have separately. If you use an app, it will go to several different places at once. So that's an efficiency tip. And then to the video end of it, spend some time on the front end. If you have something that's a series that you always do, chances are the format is always going to be the same. So all you really have to do in your editor is copy and paste, and then just fill in with the new information instead of always going. And so you always have your intro, you always have your outro, you always have maybe the text that you use. Set that up ahead of time so you're then just copying and pasting the new information into it.
Beautiful. I'm feeling more efficient already. Brian P. Swift, you got an efficiency tip for us. What say you?
All right. Instead of emailing and trying to get hold of people via email or snail mail, utilize the phone. I've been trying to call more people when I have questions or want to connect or collaborate or things of that nature. And it leaves me less of a backlog because I get a hold of them quicker, and I enjoy that. Maybe utilize the phone more than email.
Good one, Mr. Swift. I had a conversation. I was waiting and going back and forth with a client recently, and just looking for a response. And I was talking to my 83-year-old dad about it, and he said, "It sounds like you just need to pick up the phone and call them." And that's what I did, and everything was solved in 2 seconds. So, Ryan, your efficiency tip just worked for me. So, Julie, you have the idea of efficiency tips rather than calling it shortcuts. So, what do you got for us? Do you have, after all that, do you have an efficiency tip for us?
It's funny. I was like, oh, shoot, what's my efficiency tip? Well, the first one that came to mind was use Meta Business Suite. It's super easy, and you can just schedule all your social media posts, or you can do it straight from Canva. Canva is super easy to schedule out all your social media, but it's better to do it from Meta. And or start another thing. I don't know if this is efficiency. Well, maybe it is. Start sending out your build after you build your email list, start sending out emails, schedule out your emails on a regular basis each week, because that is the most important thing you can do, is send out the mass emails to your email list, because that's where your audience lies. So I guess scheduling out is my answer. Thank you.
Good stuff. So, scheduling out got a couple positives here, Tom. What do you think about that?
I mean, I like it. I got to be honest, it's not something I really do myself. I also don't spend a ton of time posting a lot of stuff on social media. I'm active-ish on social media, but I'm not super active. And it's not really the place where I find clients. It's not like a good sort of necessarily a good marketing channel for me or sales channel for me. And so I don't really utilize it. But I have heard good things, and I know it does make a ton of sense from an efficiency perspective to be able to to create a post and send it out to multiple platforms simultaneously rather than like individually going to each platform, yada yada yada. Yeah, I mean, anytime you can sort of combine steps like that and eliminate unnecessary work, I'm all for it. So it sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. I think it's time for us to switch gears here and do a little public service announcement, a little PSA for the folks listening. We've got we're going to throw up 60 seconds on the clock, right? And then we'll give our little PSAs. Do you want to go first this week, or do you want me to go?
Written down here, Tom. So I'd love to share what I have written down. Give me a little PSA clock.
Sounds good. Here we go.
I'm seeing something over in the corner there. I put my little time clock going. I'm watching tick tick tick. So this is for all creators today, all people out there that have an idea, that want to create, that think they have a better mousetrap. Go for it. Share that message. This is kudos to Romeo Bingham, who started giving theme songs on TikTok to Dr. Pepper and other places. It went Dr. Pepper. It was Dr. Pepper, it's good, baby. It's good, baby. Something like that. Dr. Pepper sees it. All these other people see it. Dr. Pepper has already made commercials. They contacted her and said, we liked your jingle that you created and we wanted to use it. And now she's creating more jingles. She is a creator. She had an idea, a better mousetrap. She went for it. If you have the better mousetrap, don't be afraid to put it out to the world. That's my PSA, Tom. Thank you.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, don't be afraid to share, right? I mean, like, don't be afraid to share. Like, if you've got a good idea, if you've got an idea, like, we don't always know whether or not our ideas are good or not, or whether or not they have legs until we share them, right? Until we get some outside perspective. So if you've got an idea, share it. I mean, you don't even have to start publicly, right? You can share it with a friend, share it with, somebody close to you, share it with your spouse, whatever the case may be. All right. I am so tired of people talking about or saying that bread is bad for you. I literally was in a meeting yesterday morning and somebody was talking about how bagels were bad for you because each bagel is the equivalent of like 3 slices of bread. First of all, that's a made up statistic, right? That's like saying 76% of all statistics are made up, right? I just made up that statistic. It's not a real statistic. Not all bagels are exactly the same. Some bagels may be the equivalent of some kinds of sliced bread and others aren't, right? But bread is not inherently bad. Carbs are not inherently bad any more than protein is inherently good. You know what's actually good for you? Moderation. Some carbs, some protein, some fats. We need all of these micronutrients and macronutrients to survive. So stop saying that bread is bad. It's not.
Wow, there you go. And my favorite food is bread and garlic bread, a bagel. More bread, the better for this guy. Bread
I mean,
and fried chicken.
I mean, in our house too. I mean, Becky, my wife has been baking sourdough since I think 2018. So she got into sourdough before sourdough became a thing during the pandemic. During the pandemic, she'd already been baking sourdough for a couple of years. So she was actually baking loaves for people and delivering them to them. But yeah, I mean, she's been making sourdough for 7-8 years now. We have loaves of bread here all the time. There's literally a loaf cooling on a cooling rack on top of the stove right now, and there's another loaf in the freezer that Becky made yesterday, right? So like, we've always got bread in the house. We eat a lot of bread. Our little daughter even loves bread. Bread is good.
You know what I love on top of bread, Tom? Breadine in general. I could live on anything that has breading on it.
And what is breading made from? Breadcrumbs. Where do breadcrumbs come from? Bread. Bread's good. Multi-use. It's good. It tastes good. It's delicious. And actually good for you.
Yeah, that's great. Excellent. Okay, this is not the smartest guys in the room. We talked shortcuts. We talked efficiency tips. Tom, what do you think about me going to a quick memory lane? Is that all right?
Yeah, I like it. I think I'd like to take a little trip down memory lane.
All right, I'm going to take you to something that is good. It's always been good. It has never been bad since the late 70s. So I want to introduce everybody to a toy that I had in my youth, and it still sits beside me. It is Chewbacca. Imagine how many smiles Chewbacca has put on faces. We don't know what, we don't have any idea what he's ever said, but he makes people feel good. So this Chewbacca, one props to Chewbacca. Thanks for giving me a better childhood, and thanks for all these years. We had no idea what you were saying, but it was good. You made us smile. So that's what I'm going with today, Tom. My Chewbacca and Chewbacca in general, the best of the Wookiees.
I have to. All right. So I love Chewie, right? But I have to say, Dom, you're saying his name weird.
You what? You, oh my goodness. Come on, Dr. Tachi, step in. Does it matter what you want me to say? Chewbacca? I mean, come on. Chew. Come on.
How did you say it?
To me, it's Chewbacca. What do you think, Dr. Tachi?
Regional accent. I think it's okay. I say Chewbacca, but it is what it
Chewbacca.
is.
Okay, we're going around here. Hold on. Mr. Swift, what do you think about this? Is Chewbacca, should I be saying Chewbacca?
Well, I mean, I know what you mean. And I guess it's depending on somebody's tolerance for understanding your accent or your tomato, potato, so on a given day, I might say it's Chewbacca, Dominic. But for the most part, you want, tomato, Chewbacca. I know where you're going.
Thanks, Brian. So you would have let it slide. And Julie, we'll let you weigh in on this because me and you do some editing together. So Chewbacca, what do you think?
I'm still waiting for you to be able to say my name correctly.
I'm gonna practice this. I want to admit, I told you guys I was in speech at Brevard Elementary. I was the best in speech class, and
Say
so
Julie's name.
Julie, it's Julie. It's all the same to me. On that note, Tom, it's time for you. I think it's time for you to wrap us up. What do you, or you want to just keep beating me down? I went with Chewbacca being good, and you went with let's beat Tom. Let's beat Tom down.
Hey,
I
Tom,
think
leave Dominic alone.
there you go. I think my entire argument or premise can be summarized by the fact that Brian started by saying, "I know what you're trying to say." Right? Like, I know what you're saying. So like he's saying, despite the fact that you have come up with some cockamamie pronunciation for Chewbacca, right? That sounds more like ciabatta than Chewbacca, right? It sounds like you're talking about an Italian style of bread, right? I think the entire criticism is summed up by the fact that Brian started by saying, "I know what you're trying to say," right? So like I can leave it there. I'm happy with that.
Tomato, potato.
Yeah. Or Dom, you could just call him Chewy, right? You're not going to leave the W out of that. You could just call him Chewy.
Or Choey.
Yeah, see, even my buddy Jim Aj, that's why we're friends. He's got my back in the comments. He's saying that I'm taking abuse. It's not right. So, this is not the smartest guys in the room. Take us home, Tom. Talk more about Greenland when people were mad at you. Go on.
Okay. No, I mean, look. So I mean, obviously, this is all in good fun, Dom, and I know what you were trying to say. I could see you holding up the Chewbacca figure. And listen, I think I destroyed all of them because I was a kid, but I had a whole bunch of Star Wars action figures when I was a kid. And I think my buddy Alex and I ruined all of them playing with them and setting fires with them and doing all kinds of crazy stuff like kids do, like little boys do with their action figures. So anyway, I think I will sum it up very quickly and very simply today. I think that you should always think twice before taking a shortcut, and don't expect the single incidents or results of success that one person shows through a shortcut to necessarily be indicative of everyone's results from the same shortcut. So just take them all with a grain of salt, right? Do your due diligence, do your research, and make sure you know what you're getting into before you sign up to take a shortcut or pay someone to teach you how to take a shortcut. That's all I'll say about it. That's all I got for today. As always, we appreciate you guys. We love you guys. We thank you guys for being here. You guys are the reason why we do this. We are not the smartest guys in the room, and we appreciate you coming back week after week to spend a little bit of time with us on a Wednesday morning. For Dom, I'm Tom. This is not the smartest guys in the room, and we will see you soon. Until then, have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. Bye-bye.